Good morning, everybody. Can you guys hear me?
Good morning. Loud and
Oh,
clear.
okay. I just want to make sure. I just want to make sure because it is quiet. So thank you.
Good
My pleasure.
morning.
Morning, Anthony.
Well, good morning, everybody. GM from the Denver traffic. Great to see you all. And yep, making our way through the village.
Oh, you're driving? I didn't know. I thought you were
Reminded about.
flying.
Oh no! I love the open road, don't you know? Some
Yeah,
people it
I
wears them
do.
out, but not me. Yeah, this
Are you driving by yourself?
energizing. I brought the dog.
Ah, okay. All right.
But other than that,
Well,
Vanessa and the
well,
babies, and yeah, divide and
they're home with
conquer.
grandmas, right? They're home with grandmas.
Yeah, yep,
Mm-hmm.
exactly. So plenty of playtime, plenty of support. I told Benjamin
Yeah.
this was the last time I'm going without him, and
Mm-hmm.
he's pretty excited. So, but
Okay.
yeah, guys, I'm missing out on
Mm-hmm.
his championship finals baseball game to come to the conference. And when Bill was talking yesterday about sometimes we got to miss stuff, I was like, yeah, it's gonna be a bummer, but it's worth it because I know what I'm working on. I know what you guys are working on. I know what the long-term benefit is. So take advantage of it while you can. The other thing that I don't know if you guys know, but we had a team member pass away last week, and her funeral is today. She was a part of our Denver community, so it works out the timing for my cross-country road trip to be able to also attend that service.
Do you have the link, Michael? Because people have been asking me that I told that it's available online. Do you have it?
I haven't received it yet, no, but I will
Um,
definitely get it out to you.
okay. All right.
You
Thank you so
know,
much.
you have Anna Lopez's number?
No, I don't.
Okay, no problem. Yeah, we'll get it.
Michael,
Okay.
is this Esther Hahn?
Esther Hahn. The last time you talked to Esther Hahn was the last time you talked to Esther Hahn.
Oh my God. Okay. Wow. Really sorry. It's so surprising too. Okay. Thank you.
I'm sorry. What did you say happened? I apologize, Michael. What happened to Esther?
She passed away.
Oh, wow.
Esther passed, and
Yeah,
today at
she
2 p.m. Mountain Time is the funeral, and there's apparently availability on online to attend. So if you guys want to attend, we're waiting for the link, and I know I've told some people at 30:30 that it's available online. So soon as we get the link, we'll disseminate it to people that want to attend.
Well, thank you. I'm sorry to hear
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
It's a great reminder to try harder. Because you never know when you're going to go. You also don't know the impact that you're making by trying harder, right? By being the CEO of your own enterprise with a mission. Yeah, it's pretty exciting. It's a weird thing they don't tell you. When you're team building, that some of your team members are going to die. I mean, when it's, you think about it, you do something long enough, it's obvious. Yeah, people die, but yeah, totally different experience, and that I'm super grateful for her. She walked the walk, she talked the talk, she did the thing. As soon as she got the classes, she was into deals, she was doing the recruiting, she was helping new students, she was keeping our leadership team on our toes. And yeah, she brought a lot of trustworthiness to the office, right? Her testimonial, we used her testimonial a lot because she had, the quote unquote American dream, and then it all went away and she rebuilt it. Anyway, very grateful that uh, I got to be on that journey with her. So I'm gonna go meet up with a few Denver team members, haven't seen in a while, get a little mastermind going on, and we'll go to the service, and then right when that's over, head to Salt Lake so I can see all you beautiful people in the morning and, make the best of it. So Wealth Wednesday, always a spicy one. Yep. Very interesting. Yeah, she was also a great example of never complaining. She definitely brought up things that we could improve with ideas and actions on it, but it never came through as a complaint or criticism. And yeah, interesting time. I still learning how to drive in traffic. Okay, there we go. Onward and upward. Yep, got to make the most of it. Also get life insurance, folks. If you don't have life insurance, get it and put it on your to-do list. Make it a priority. She did it right, but you never want to leave your family with a bunch of debt if you die too soon. Too soon, I guess that's kind of a judgment call, but nevertheless, life insurance is a critical piece of your financial puzzle, and it's a damn shame that it's only brought up when people die. Uh, it's a little late at that point. Get it, even if it's the cheapest you can get, a couple bucks, whatever. I don't sell it, but I definitely buy it. So anyway, for those of you who are just coming in late to the call and wondering what the heck are we talking about, a team member of ours from the Denver team has passed away, and her memorial service is today. And she technically did set it up right. She got the self-directed retirement account. She's got the rental properties, the whole thing, the trust, set it all up. So luckily, it's not two tragedies, you know? So anyway, appreciate you guys showing up, supporting. We also need to pay that forward. You know, Esther Hahn's story was unique in one regard, but also in another, it was an example of why our education is so important, why our mission, why our company, why our events are around and have the impact that they have, is because people need what we have. It's not just a nice thing to say. It's not like a motto that we're trying to convince ourselves. It is the absolute truth. People need what we have. So spread the good
Michael, could you
word,
repeat
help
that?
people
Sorry.
face their fears.
Could you repeat that? You said she had what set up?
Oh, she had her self-directed retirement accounts holding rental property in a
Okay,
trust covered with life insurance.
perfect. Thank you. Just want to make sure I
Yeah,
have my ducks in order.
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That's the thing, right? Is we know our days are numbered. How do we want our family to respond, to think, to have to deal with different things when that day comes? And there's a template in the class. They don't phrase it like things to do before you die, but it's out there, and we owe it to our families and the people that matter. You know, I know some people don't want their families necessarily to inherit a bunch of wealth. They want them to go and earn it, but you know, your local church or community center or whatever can inherit your stuff too, and you can continue to make a difference with the wealth you've created. But you got to make it passable, not let it end up in probate. So let's all be responsible. Let's help more people get it. And I heard Scott Rose say a long time ago that um, when he dies, when he finally kicks the bucket, what he wants is hopefully to have a stadium full of people that he affected one time or another. Hopefully 20, 40, 50, 100 years from now, whatever, long into the future. But the idea is that while we're here, the difference that we're making means that people will stop in their tracks. They'll travel. They'll do whatever to acknowledge your passing. In the moment when I heard that, I was like, wow, that's like seems by definition an egotistical statement. I don't want to be driven by ego. But as I watched the man actually work and connect and help his team and help his students, he's not coming from an ego point. He's coming from an impact point. So I get it now. And what an interesting way to measure your, I don't know, accomplishments, your did you hit the mission? Not everyone has a mission of that. I get it. So it's not a comparison thing, but for him, and just listening to, if you're around long enough, who knows when, but if you're around long enough, you'll see all kinds of people die. And what kind of impact are you going to make, I guess, is the question here. Are you willing to face your fears and chase your dreams? Because Jim Rohn put it this way, starting a business is risky, getting married is risky, investing is risky, but guess how risky it all is? You're going to die. So take the risk, go for it, whatever it is, because it's less risky than what you think. And man, did that guy made a huge impact. Multinational, multi-billion-dollar corporation on word of mouth. What a great example. Okay, it looks like there's a link in the chat. Whoever put that in there, thank you very much. Okay, thank you. Well, before we get Daine out here, did you guys want to talk anything else? Did you want to figure out, the winning lottery numbers, or what? What did you guys want to cover real quick? Is Daine here? I'm gonna check the list here. Not yet. All right. Well, in the meantime, Celeste, you got a little update on your deal? Were you able to get a hold of the homeowner?
Yes, good morning. I am in communication with the attorney, and he's writing up our purchase agreement. The owner of the property has summarized our conversation. The starting bid that I put in based on raw land, which was 7 doors down, was 150 minus. I've already gotten 2 quotes on the clean out, 25,000 and 30,000 on the other. So these were all deducted, leaving us. There's a couple other expenses. There's a little bit of a balance that the deceased parent took out. So there's that. There's tree removal. So all of that got deducted. So basically, we're at 100,000 for the property. Just to kind of give you a quick little scoop, it's 1.17 acres. It's for the top level, it's 2212 square feet, but when you add the lower level, we're looking at about 3,300. Probably going to take it down to the studs, but of course save any walls that are salvageable, and then we'll just do like a mold sealant and then start from there. I have 2 contractors, which both are very experienced. One lives a couple doors down from me. He built his home from the ground up. The other one was managing crews of 150 working at McCormick Place in Chicago. And they are the 2 that I'm going to, assign to the job. I'll be the orchestrator. They'll be the workers, obviously. Um, and so I want to get it just kind of locked up as soon as possible. But in the executor's mind, I mean, we're moving forward. So we're going to talk again today. And there looks to be quite a bit of potential here, just given the neighborhood, which the property is literally 2.5 minutes from my house. And all of the homes down to the right of the property, everyone is a acre lot, basically. They're all listed at around, we'll call it 430,000. One is as high as 550,000. The street that is in front of this property, right across the street, it's a whole subdivision, which I know isn't a valid comp. However, they are 750, probably to over $1 million homes. It's the property was built in 1978, so it's very solid structurally. Although, we haven't actually been able to get into it. The photos and the videos that I have are from the demo crew. Now, I don't know if I'll actually use them. I need to talk to the second contractor who said, oh, you don't need, a demo crew. We've got the people. Okay, great. I mean, I know that means less money, and every dollar we don't put out is a dollar in our pocket, or in my pocket. And, so,
Awesome. That's
it's,
exciting.
oh, well, what's really exciting, and I don't want to get overly, like I want to keep everything in reasonable numbers, and everything over is gravy. So I already told you 430 to 550 is what's already on every house to the right of this property. Um, but out of my attorney's mouth and in my mind is that this house, if it looks amazing, which it's going to, he said, I even see over 600 to 700,000. Now that's a big difference, but at the same time, like I have been gathering my vision and not taking, a lot of action, but I've been learning and watching and collecting. So it's like all of a sudden all this time, I've kind of been gathering my knowledge and my wisdom and my ideas. And now here comes the opportunity to pull it all together. And so I'm going to have this really laid out with, this is my vision for every room, colors, design, all of that is already clear. And it's like every deal that has come to me, it's like for whatever reason, no, 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 it's not going to work. I was fearful, all of these like roadblocks. But now that this opportunity has presented itself, I like all of a sudden have all the confidence, all the vision, everything like comes together quickly. So I'm pretty excited about everything that's unfolding right now. I want to get the property locked up as quickly as possible so I can start working on the outside, because in my thinking, it's like, okay, the trees are going to get done. That's a day that, because there's a lot of overgrowth. And so we need to get that cleared out. I want to do some of that landscaping. So all of this is ready for spring, because I want to get this ready to be on the market by February or March. Initially, I was telling the contractor 6-month time frame. Well, I'm going to be a little unreasonable, and now I'm pushing it up to 2-month time frame. I'm working with guys who know what is going on. I'm going to give each of them like, okay, what is the room you want to work on? Like you work on the kitchen, you're in the lower level, you're doing a bathroom. So I want everybody working together to get this done in the most efficient time frame as possible. And, we're going to have a weekly meeting. This is the game plan. I'm going to have these contractors, please, sign in, let me know, what you basically did. And, you don't need to be super elaborate, but have the easel with the board, like, so I can keep a good handle, keep the vision tight. And so this is my vision so far. So anybody want to input? I am all ears.
Awesome. 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 Yeah. So I guess part of it is just the details of the note and the deed, making sure that that stuff is also marketable, because if you have a nice pretty house but you did some paperwork wrong, it's going to hurt too. So I think it'd be a great time for us to bring Daine out, and then we can talk about what you're including in your contract, and we can get Daine's take on it as well. For those of you who are new to our call, GM, you need to know about Mr. Daine Clark, empire builder and educator, masterful communicator and farmer. He does all things magical, and he got his start here at Renatus as a student, faced his fear, chased his dreams, and is now one of the best in our lineup. He doesn't work long hours because he works a system, and he is crushing it. He's doing more deals in less time while having fun, making friends. And he shows up every Wealth Wednesday to help us dissect deals, dissect our mind, make a plan of attack, and do better and do more. So let's give a big warm welcome to the man of the hour, Mr. Daine Clark. GM.
Test, test. How about now? Can you hear me now?
Oh, yeah.
Here we
Loud
are.
and clear.
What is
Right
up,
on.
friends? Happy Wealth Wednesday here. Let's turn a little more light on. It's getting darker in the morning. Oh my goodness. Winter is on the way. Here it
Yeah.
comes.
Here it comes. Brace yourself.
Yes. Super excited for this year. It's gonna be fun. More snow than last year here.
Yeah. Yeah. More
Uh,
snowmobiling.
yeah. Snow biking. I sold all
Oh,
my snow.
right. You got some Frankenstein machines, don't you?
Yeah. I'm building 5 of them this year. We're gonna have some fun.
That's
Enough to
awesome.
share.
Right. Good for you, man.
Super fun. But yeah, what we got cooking today, I jumped on and somebody had a crazy situation that I caught. I think I kind of grasped at least the gist of it. But
Yeah, so we were dissecting this yesterday with Bill because it's a new build, new construction opportunity kind of thing.
mhm.
And so we went over some numbers and we told her you got to get under contract at this price today. So she went over and did that. Now they're writing it up
Nice.
to get signatures today. But Celeste, is it going to be seller financing? Is it going to be a profit sharing? Like, how did you guys figure out the terms?
Well, the terms are sort of still being negotiated, but those were the key things. So we arrived at the price. I did, even the first day I met her, I tossed out there, would you be willing to hold the financing since it's a small, burden for her? And she was fine with that. So I know I kind of shot myself in the foot with the 12%, although that actually was not part of her note. But I don't want to feel like I'm taking advantage, especially if it turns out as amazing as even Michael commented based on what he saw. But so far, it's going to be like 100,000, and so I'm definitely open to like saying, okay, this is like the interest that I'm going to pay you. I mean, any thoughts on that right now from either one of you, any of you? Like, was 12, like opening my big mouth and saying, I'll give you 12% if you hold the note, but I don't want to take advantage of her either. So any thoughts there?
Yes.
Well,
I mean,
first,
really,
yeah,
go ahead, Michael.
I was just going to say, if you're being honest and ethical and you are massively profitable, do not phrase it as taking advantage. If you are
Okay.
following the rules and you're keeping your perspective clear, right? You know what taking advantage of is and isn't, and making a boatload of money is not taking advantage of someone. So I just want to put that out there.
Okay.
Yeah, my how do I say this? My moral compass is a lot of it has to do with feelings, and honestly, feelings can be subjective. And so at the end of the day, I want my clients, I want people, I want my partners, my clients, whoever, vendors. I want everybody to feel like they are getting taken care of. I want everybody to feel like they can say thank you at the end of the deal. And some people's mindset would say thank you to, like, I think I've shared some stories on here that some people's mindset said, oh yeah, I'm making like 4 or 5% in my, I can't remember what it was, mutual funds or something like that. So if I could make like 6, and so if I said, yeah, 6%, and that person says thank you, my moral compass says good deal. Like they're feeling like they are getting taken care of. They're feeling like they can say thank you at the end of that deal. And so sure, could I pay them more? Yeah, I probably could. And so sometimes I will, sometimes I won't. It depends on the deal. But yeah, as long as everybody says thank you, I love this, I would do this time and time again, then that's usually how I look at it. I just want everybody to say, I want everybody to feel like they're getting taken care of. Anthony has a comment. Go ahead, brother.
So just a thought. You could, excuse the expression, play dumb. You could take that 100,000 and you could add 12% to it rather than paying, so you're paying simple interest rather than compound interest. And that would give you a little bit in your pocket, and it's like you're doing her a favor too, because you're adding something to it. And it's kind of a middle ground, but it would save you a potential amount of money.
Okay, 12% on the
Yeah.
100,000.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
make it 112.
Yeah, because you said you're going to give
Or
her
actually,
12%.
no, see,
You know?
I think I did 10%.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Anyway, do that.
That's staying in line with what I said.
Yeah.
And just being super clear, and that is what I did state, that would be like a $12,000 profit on your money. And this is a massive kind of headache for them. I mean, they can see that $25,000 to $30,000 quotes to get this house cleared out. I mean, this is unloading a massive burden. As I already stated, I've been following it since 2019 when the woman was alive. The executor, oldest daughter, is in Maryland. This other daughter here, which is local, she sort of like didn't seem overly interested. Her demeanor was kind of like, my sister's the executor, she's handling it, I'll let you in, come whenever you want. The brother, as the executor called him, he's a free spirit, so he's maybe indifferent. And the dad is very elderly. They were divorced. It's very sad to see that they built this beautiful home, because I have a photo of this original home, and it's a brand new glory, which is so amazing just to have that. I mean, I'm really excited because I love those stories with the dramatic, like, this is what it looked like, this is what it is now, and this is what it's going to be. Like, when I say I've been collecting ideas and thoughts, like, I've got the outdoor lighting, because as soon as this house gets revealed, like, people are going to be like, wow, what is going on over there? Because we're going to raise the canopy on the trees and expose the house, because right now it's pretty much buried. And I'm like, oh my God. So I want to get some of these big, beautiful, a few. I'm not going to get carried away, because we got to be very financially conservative. We're going to do absolutely what's necessary, prioritize, the wow factors, 4 feet around the front door, but the real wow factor of the whole beautiful property. I'm going to have some outdoor lighting done to just highlight, what's been hiding under there. So I'm pretty excited.
That's
So is she
awesome.
going to carry the whole 100% of it? Yeah. How?
Yes. Yep.
So no payments. You're going to get paid 112 when I sell it.
Yep.
yeah, that's exactly what I was about to say.
Correct.
Yeah.
Nice.
So Daine,
That's
how
right.
would you make sure that shows up in the writing and it's enforceable?
Michael Conrad's going to do all of that. So I'm going to
Cool.
specifically say that to him. I mean, just talking with him really made me even more comfortable, especially when he said, a lot can go wrong, but a lot can go right. And in the all right condition, this property, I believe, can go for 600,000 to 700,000 in the end. And I believe him, because now we are setting the new standard, and it is a fabulous neighborhood, and it's a fabulous lot. And I am going to, it is completely grown in. I'm not going to tear down the little forest in the backyard, but I am going to, take it back probably at least 20 feet in until you start seeing actual greenery. Clean that out a little bit, because that's going to be your little sanctuary forest in your yard. And, maybe even find a picnic bench that can get thrown in there. And I also know that you can do an auxiliary dwelling unit, which is an additional selling feature, like in the back of the lot or something to that effect. So I'm not going to do that, but it's nice for somebody to know it's possible.
That's awesome.
Yeah, yeah. And it really, ultimately, there is a lot of square footage here. So like I said, level 1 is 2212. The whole lower level, I'm thinking, is 1,000 square feet. And apparently there's a basement under all of this. But it is literally jammed with books, papers. There's a car in the garage. You can't even hardly see it. there's dead animals in there.
God.
I mean, it's crazy. Now, one of the other things, like I have been doing a lot of due diligence with FOIAs and getting everybody out there, giving me their estimates before I even have a contract on it. Like I need to know I'm moving in the right direction. But let's see, what was the point now? I'm losing it. Oh, anyway, I kind of lost it, but there are two awesome stone fireplaces. The peripheral lower level on the house, it's all stone. So correction, if anybody was thinking that this was going to be a tear down, it's not going to be a tear down because I don't want to go through the whole permit thing, and there's no need to do that. I'm very conservative. I want to keep anything that is salvageable, and there is a lot that is going to be salvageable, even though every ceiling has fallen down. And there's insulation, feces, dead this, that, everywhere. At some point, I'll, have a presentation so people can appreciate the before and after. But stone fireplaces. So this is a remodel. Okay, this is a remodel. So less permits, less, interference. Even though I am going up to, I've already been talking to planning and zoning and development, all of that. I want to go up there. I want to make friends with them because I want them to be swift with the permitting. And I already found out they said that this is a slower time. So that's really great too. Right?
I was thinking that maybe selling it the way that Daine sells it, where then you offer the financing and then you can collect interest for another 30 years on top of that. I know
I'm biased, but I would do it.
I love that because think about all of the taxes I would have to pay. So I am not opposed to that. I'm going to set up another LLC and do the whole thing in another LLC. And so if I can get that refied out, but what does that mean? I have to hold it for a year? I mean, the taxes on this right now are 9,000. They're going to probably hit 12 before we know it. So with that in mind, thoughts?
So yeah, I just go get like a DSCR loan. When you're all said and done, just go get a DSCR loan, refinance everybody out, sell it on the open market on seller financing, get, let's say you want a bigger payment. So in cases like this, if I've got tons of equity and I've quote unquote made my money or I can pay everybody else back, I actually like slightly smaller down payments because the monthly payment is bigger. And so like I just sold one at a 10% down payment, for example, like, I don't know, a month, maybe 1 or 2 months ago. And typically my floor, like my bottom dollar of down payment is 20%. And so I accepted 10% down because I knew the payment would be higher. I'll make more money over time because on this house, I already made my money. I've already made my money back, I should say, and paid everybody else out. Like everybody else is out of the deal, if you will. And I just stayed in it, refinanced it, and then seller financed it.
Mm.
And so yeah, let's say you've refinanced everybody out, get a 10% down payment, and I mean, infinite returns, exactly.
Yeah, collect rent for 30 years. And
Yeah.
I mean, I would maybe in that contract, you put, it cannot be paid off for at least 5 or 10 years. What are your
Yeah.
thoughts on that?
I've done those. Some people like them, some people don't.
Mhm.
But and so one thing that I did, in fact, I've got one right now that they're trying to refinance me out, and we haven't even gone a whole year yet.
Mhm.
And they're trying to refinance me out. And so one thing I do, because I try to pitch people on like, hey, I'll help you as long as you need my help. And I try to come across very mellow, very like easygoing, if you will, laid back. And so with this particular one, I told them the same thing. I said, however, I'll give you an option. Do you want the cheapest interest rate we can possibly get? Because if I give you that, then I'm going to go get a DSCR loan that has what's called a 3-year prepay. And so the 3-year prepay is the cheapest interest rate, known to man in DSCR lending at a 75% LTV. And so I went and did that because they were like, yeah, get the cheapest. Because I gave them the option. Do you want a 1 year or a 3 year prepay, if you will? Because I'm not going to charge you a fee, but if you want the cheapest interest rate, and I go get a 3 year prepay, and you pay me off in less than that amount of time, I'm not paying the prepay, you are. And so I basically just wrote that in. It was all. Because sometimes you might lose people. They're like, oh, well, yeah. It also kind of tells them their true intention. If you're like, oh, well, I want it to go 5 years minimum, or else and you charge them a prepay. But yeah, so this one is paying a prepay because they said, I want the cheapest interest rate I can get, and we'll do the 3 year. And then here they are, less than a year later, they're trying to refinance me out. And so let's see, the balance. Oh, let's see, what was it? 500. It was like a 500,000, give or take, DSCR loan that I got, and the prepay was like, let's see, I had it. It was like $13,000, and so yeah, so they're paying 13 grand extra just to refinance this less than a year later. But I'm not charging them anything. I'm basically just they'll give me that, and I'll just give that to my underlying lender is all. But yeah, and again, I go back to that, like, as long as they feel like they're getting taken care of. Like if you start talking about that kind of stuff and they're like, but if they don't flinch, like, yeah, we'll probably go longer than 5 years, like, great. So if you notice them flinching, that's when I'll start backing off a little bit. Cause again, I want them to feel like they're being taken care of. And like I said, feelings are subjective in most, I'd say 99% of cases. Subjective to their scenario, to their mindset, to their experience, their life experiences, their goals, whatever it is. And so, so the answer is, it depends. If they don't flinch and they feel like they're getting taken care of by you saying, yeah, minimum 5 years, do it.
Yeah.
But it also might show their hand. Like if you start talking, hey, minimum 5 years, they're like, oh, well, then you say, okay, well, what makes you think that you might not? And if they're just like, well, I just don't know what the next 5 years is going to be like, whatever, then you can say, oh, well, maybe I'll work with you. We'll just put that there. And depending on the situation, I'll be flexible, but we'll just put it in the contract still. And it gives you that ability to still enforce it if you wanted to, or give grace if you also wanted to. Like I'm one of those that's known that my contract allows me to do this, and I usually do this. And same thing, it makes people feel like they're being very well taken care of to do such a thing. And so, yeah, anyway, for food for thought, if you will.
Well, I feel pretty excited about the possibility of getting a DCR after it's completed and then offering seller financing, because I'm actually working with somebody else. We're doing a deal and trying to get the property sold. And everybody that's coming wants seller financing. So
nice.
so the seller financing is a huge selling feature. And I will also say, here's the thing about when you kind of maybe have less than a positive experience in your history, it really gives you a clear plan of what you're going to do. And here it is. This is our mistake. We worked on, like my first rehab, I was with several people. It was a beautiful house, great neighborhood. It ended up being too many cooks in the kitchen. And it did not turn out well. Literally, I didn't make any money. Nothing. Okay. I worked a lot as well. We were doing all the work ourselves. That was another mistake. But during the journey, somebody came, offered to buy the house as is before it was finished. Us, so attached in our vision, declined the offer. Big mistake. And we sat on that property. Taxes ate us up. And that's why only the investors got paid. So the lesson learned is I am going to, as soon as that house gets to the studs, I give me your feedback. I am ready to put a for sale by owner sign outside.
Sure.
And if there's somebody that wants to get in there and tailor and customize that home and start using their own money, more power to you. What do you think?
It's worth it to, now I will say, because I've actually got somebody that borrowed money from me on a deal, and they did that very thing. Their problem was that they sat on it and sat on it and sat on it because they did not intend to finish the project. And same thing, I mean, it ate them up, and to the point where, I feel bad, but I'm probably the only one who makes money on this because they just dropped the ball. And so if you're careful by saying like, yeah, we'll put that sign out there, but I mean, obviously it sounds like this deal has such big margins that you'll be saying, this one, this other one I'm talking about, I mean, it was like a little better than a base hit, but they sat on it for so long that yeah, no bueno.
Here's the other thing I will tell you. In iOS on the comps, oh my God, the comps are crazy. And what's already listed in this very moment, let me just pull it out. I've got almost an inch worth of notes and papers and things on this particular property, just collecting information. So, okay, in iOS, it is showing this property at 526,000 right now. Yesterday, I looked that up. And I will also tell you in iOS, the comps of other listings that are active in this very moment with little variations, size, bedrooms, whatever, 798, 975, 499, and 346. That's what these surrounding homes, and I guess this is probably a mile radius. So this is the kind of neighborhood that we're in, which is beautiful with all the mature trees and all of that. So kind of cool. Let's see, what other questions did I have? I mean, mold, they always say mold is gold, right? So, I mean, if the wall is sound, we're not taking that thing down. And really, here's another thing. I don't know if there is any paneling, but if there is paneling on a wall, honestly, all I want to do is paint over it, okay? Because it's a lot more work to remove it because you're going to have the glue and the mess behind it. And I kind of like the texture. What are your guys' thoughts about paneling and painting it and maybe doing like that? I don't know, is it called wainscoting? Just sort of a textured wall, accent wall. Maybe we paint it.
That's not my cup of tea.
Okay.
I'm not a designer.
Okay.
I'm a numbers guy.
I love the accented walls. I did that in my lake house and it looked amazing.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can say they look good. Done right, I guess. They look good, but yeah, and Steve makes a good point. Actives are not ideal comps. They are competition. I actually do like pulling actives, but I like to see, in fact, here, let's see if I can share this.
So I should be pulling the solds.
I like to see both, and here's why. Let's grab some of these recent deals here. Let's see if you guys can see this.
Yeah, we can see it, Daine.
Let's see, put image over cells. Okay, yeah. So this isn't the one I wanted, but this will do. So this is just a representation on a house we're looking at that has you can see S is for sold, A is for active, UC is for under contract. And so I like to look for patterns. And so I sort my comps by price per square foot because I want to see this is the tippy top dog. This house sold for $250 per square foot. Now this house is active, and here, let's see if you guys can see this. Oh, that's right. That's why I didn't. Hang on. Let me pick a different one. Let's grab. do this one. Image oversells. There's just not very many comps on this one though, but you'll still be able to see what I'm talking about. So we have under contract, sold, backup. So it's basically for sale and it's under contract, and then active. And so we only have one sold. Now, if I scroll over here, you can see days on market. Looks like my assistant just accidentally cropped out days on market on some of these other ones. But you can see, okay, these three are my competition, and here's my sold. So $321 a square foot. However, I have competition at $309 a square foot and $343 a square foot. And I'm one of those that likes to say, okay, yeah, I'll weight the sold and say, okay, $321 a square foot sets the precedent. And I hate that this one only has 4 comps, but sure, the precedent is $321 a square for a sold. However, my competition is at 309 and 343. And so I'm gonna take a heavy look, and I'm gonna guess this one at 184. It's either the house we're buying or it's like a dump. Oh, come on, it's not gonna let me see. Yeah, it's only been on the market 6 days. And so yeah, obviously throw that one out. I typically like to throw these ones out, but I'm going to look very heavily and say, okay, well, 309 a square foot. I mean, oh, that's right. I didn't like this deal anyway, because we're talking over $1 million. I typically don't like these kind of deals. But to prove the point, sometimes I'm trying to remember which one it was. I just had one that was so interesting that, again, when I sort by price per square, you see the top, tippy top of the market price per, because in residential real estate, price per square basically is the authority. And so I saw the pattern that I saw, and I bet you I could look through a bunch of these and I could find it, but it was interesting because there was tons of solds and then there were several actives, which what does that tell you? The pattern that it tells you is like, wait a second, this could mean that this little geographical area, this 1 mile radius seems to be declining for some reason. If all your solds are up here and then your actives are down here, that's a red flag to me to say, okay, we're gonna compete with our competition, forget about the solds in this scenario. And so I wonder which one it was. I bet you I could find it. Because it was this month, I know that. Oh, come on. I said go over sales and it went somewhere. I don't know where it went. Here, let's see if we back it up. Let's do 90%. Huh, I can't find it. Command Z. Image oversells. There we go. Let's see, is this one it? Yeah, this one is kind of it. So here we see tons of solds. There's an under contract. Now I will say, the swing is not too big. So we've got 3 solds, 275, 272, 261, and then an under contract. Whoops, it doesn't let me highlight. An under contract at 260, and then a few more solds, and then an active at 233. And so yeah, like look at all these solds, like sets those precedents. But why don't we have any actives or even under contract in the 270s like that? And let's see, did this one get cropped? Oh no, we have days on market. So yeah, so we have, let's see, 54 days on market. Interesting. So a longer days on market as a backup under contract. Another one that sold very similar price per square foot for 6 days on market. And so, and I'd be, if I was really looking at this, I'd be really looking at pictures too to say, okay, what, being the detective, why is this happening? Days on market, 30, days on market, 46, days on market, 6. So basically above average, 54 days on market, only at 260 a square foot. Why? Let's see if we can find out why, looking at pictures. And then we have some solds down in 256, and then more active 233. And I'm guessing as we get, and it's interesting because down lower you see, oh, these houses are in shambles. You know, they're not fixed up. They're not in great condition. And so yeah, look at both. I prefer to look at solds and backup and under contract, and I like to sort by price per square foot because that's what gives me the best. It tells me the best story, if you will, to see if I can see these patterns. And you can also see patterns sometimes and say, oh, it looks like more bedrooms sells for more. But in this case, no. More bedrooms, like if someone come to me and trying to say, oh, well, we're gonna put 5 bedrooms in this, or we're gonna put 6 bedrooms in this, like, it doesn't look like people care about the bedrooms. Just looking at this, doesn't look like people care about the bathrooms and even the garage. Like, yeah, people care about garages. Garages are definitely selling for more price per square. Like you see 222 and then 0211. And again, I'm guessing that once we get down here on the bottom of, but I like to see the bottom of the market and the top of the market in my geographical area. And here I'll show you the range of these. So we grab 2 things every time we pull comps. We get that list unfiltered is just everything within plus or minus 100, a few hundred square feet, acreage, year built, that kind of stuff. And within, let's back this off, make this a little smaller so you guys can see it. Within a mile radius. And so we can see like, okay, this little snapshot of mile radius, this is basically what the spreadsheet was looking like, or these are all from the spreadsheet. And so we can see in this particular market what's going on. And so right off the bat, that one that was a little bit cheaper, let's see. Yeah, the active, I mean, it's right on a busy street. So I said, okay, cool. So that's why that was like that. And then let's see, where were some of the other ones? 449, I think this was the under contract. Or yeah, that was backup. Let's see, what's orange backup? Yeah, so this is our backup one. So yeah, so interesting. So I hope that helps. Look at everything, solds and active, backup, under contract, all that stuff, because your competition is important. If you're the most expensive house on the market, there comes a point where nobody cares about the solds. Well, honestly, most buyers aren't looking at solds. Appraisers look at solds, buyers look at competition. And so don't leave that out. I've made that mistake in the past.
Well, I wasn't thinking of necessarily listing it at a high price. I rather get a lot of eyes on it and hope there to be like a bidding war. That's what I'm hoping for.
Love it.
The price ride up naturally by desire. Okay, kind of switching gears a little bit, just dealing with contractors. Any tips, tricks, ways to pay them? I know probably a third. Do I want to give them a little? Oh, okay. So initially, give them a third to start. While they're in the job, the next third, the final third at close. And depending on how great, do I want to give them a couple extra % as a little bonus since they did all the work? Any tips on all things contractors?
Yeah, I'm a big fan that you pay a contractor. So if you look at how the world works, it's by design. So employees get paid, let's say every other week, but they get paid a week after they do that work. So let's say you get paid every other Tuesday or every other Friday, whatever. You work for 2 weeks, and then a week later you get paid. And that's like customary, that if you start work today, you won't see a paycheck for 3 weeks on the work that you did for the next 2 weeks. And so I believe in paying contractors similarly, but in technically faster. So again, most of the world works where you get paid a week after the work finishes. I like to pay contractors the day it's done, but I've done hundreds and hundreds of deals now, helped over 1,000 people. And I will tell you that the number one reason by far, like I don't have any statistical or ratio data, but I can tell you that by far the people who lose money are the ones who pay a contractor too soon. I'm a big fan of paying your contractors soon, but not too soon. And so sorry that this is like preaching to the choir, but I'm sure somebody on here needs to hear this. If you pay a contractor half down and half when they're done, you are begging for bad things to happen. And yes, even those contractors that are like, oh, Daine, but these guys are so good. Like they've done that for me and they've done it several times. I've seen even the most honest of contractors fall into this trap. If they say, oh, half down, half when they're done. Here, let me paint the picture for you. Let's say you have that amazing contractor that is amazing and they are fast and very good work and they're very well priced, but they require that kind of a pay structure where you pay them before the work is done. They are so good and you love them that you're probably going to give referrals to this contractor. And let's even say that you're like, no, like I don't want this contractor to work for anybody else. So you kind of keep them your best kept secret. They are still probably talking to other people too. And so they're working for other people. And let's say they're pleasing that person too, and they love their work. They're going to give them referrals. And so it is so easy for a very good contractor that has a pay structure like that to go get half down from 10 customers in a weekend. You could get half down from 10 people in a freaking weekend. And then what happens? You can't work on 10 projects at the same time. And so really just the squeaky wheel gets the grease. And so this is why I say even the most honest and stand-up contractors fall into this trap, because like I say, you can go get 10 half downs in a weekend, but now you got 10 projects you got to finish. And let's say that you're a nice person and so you're not the squeaky wheel and so they take care of everybody else and then they finally get to you. By that time, they probably need grocery money. And so they're going to go it's easier to go get half down from somebody else than finish your project. And so that you just keep getting, if you're a nice person, you just keep getting pushed down the line. Like I say, I've seen this too many times, way too many times. And the story always starts like that. Cause I tell people this, I ask them, how are you paying your contractor? And it's a Ponzi scheme, but they don't even do it on purpose. Like they had no intention to do a Ponzi scheme. But that model, half down, half when they're done, basically anytime you pay a contractor before they finish, you run a risk. And so anyway, so I've told you what not to do. Let's talk about what to do. If your contractor has a pay structure where they need your money to buy your materials, that's fine, but you need a receipt. You need to dot your I's and cross your T's that unavoidably, for sure, you own those materials and you receive a receipt. So for example, I had a guy, I was doing a house down in St. George, and he was like, oh, Daine, yeah, I need some money up front. I was like, I don't do that. And I said, if you need my money for materials, he's like, oh yeah, I need money for materials. I said, okay, if you need my money for materials, you're going to build a Home Depot cart. And Home Depot is actually, Home Depot gets this. Home Depot actually they can let your contractor build a cart, and that contractor can send you the cart. And I would use my credit card to pay for the materials. I would get the receipt. I could make him a pickup person so he could still pick up, because St. George is like 6 to 7 hours away from me. And so I'm not going down there. And so I could make him a pickup person and he could pick up my materials. Because again, I bought the materials. So he went and picked them up, but he didn't see $1 from me until we had photos, and I actually had a local realtor that was going to be my realtor to sell the house for me. He went and did the inspection and said, yep, everything looks good. Pay the guy. And so I would pay him on the spot. And so I pay fast to my contractors. But notice that, let's say that I bought all those materials and let's say he had 5 other projects. Yeah, this was a good contractor. Let's say that he had 5 other projects that did give him half down. and then I was and then I got, pushed, let's see, what do they call that? Under the radar or whatever they call that, on the back burner. Let's say I'm on the back burner. I own the materials, and the materials are at my house behind lock and key. Let's say that I did get pushed back or on the back burner. I could hire anybody else at any time to finish what he didn't really start. But again, my materials are at my house on the premises behind lock and key. So I could hire anybody else at any time. And because I fired that contractor, I would not lose money. Am I painting a good picture here?
That's fantastic, because literally I am thinking my garage is going to be the holding zone, because it is 2.5 minutes away. I've got a 3-car garage. So that is perfect. I love where you're going with all this.
Yes. And so that's one way that I will pay. If a contractor is like, I need money for materials, I say, cool, I'm buying materials. Now, let's say that a contractor says, oh, well, I buy materials from and these do exist, a vendor that you have to have a contractor's license in order to buy from. So they're like, Daine, they won't even talk to you. Like you can't get it's not possible. I say, that's fine. Then you are going to give me a receipt, and I'm going to buy the materials from you. And so give me a price for materials. And sure, if you're going to do your markup, I don't care. Just give me a price for the materials that I'm going to buy from you. And I'm going to cross-check them with Home Depot to see if you're gouging me. Sure. But yeah, I need a receipt from you now that I bought these materials from you. So in other words, he could never take these materials and go back to his vendor and return them and get the money back. And if he did, he technically could in that situation, but I have a receipt. And I would have him take photos of them arriving on my premises, so that for theft reasons. So let's say we did have that some kind of disagreement. Let's run the same scenario out. He's like, oh, Daine, I can't use Home Depot. I got better stuff from somewhere else. Okay, fine. Give me a receipt. I will pay you. And so I'll pay for materials only. And sure, if you're going to make your markup, you make your money. That's fine. But they are my materials once I pay you and you give me that receipt. And they're going to be behind lock and key at my house. And let's say that we have a disagreement because he went and got half down from 5 other people, and now he's working for them and not for me. And I'm just like, dude, get my project done. Get my project done. I already paid you for materials. All you have to do is finish the labor, and then I'll pay you for the rest. And he's just like, oh yeah, I'll get to it. So I say, fine, you're fired. And then I go hire contractor, number 2, and say, hey, I already own the materials. They're already on site. Just install them and I'll pay you. So contractor 2 begins, or, it's okay, yeah, I'll come. But contractor 1, let's say they take my materials because of that disagreement where I'm like, hey, you're fired. They take my materials and they go return them and they get that money back. That's theft. Like undeniable, police reportable theft, because I have a receipt and I have a photo of them on site at my property behind lock and key, and then they were gone. Like I can legit prove true theft because receipt, photos, and then they were gone. Or I can either claim insurance or report theft, either one. Right? So I hope I'm painting a really good picture here on how to not get taken advantage of from contract. Because again, even the most honest of honest contractors fall into this trap. And honestly, most of the time it is the honest ones that fall into this trap for that very reason. If they're really good, it's more likely they will fall into the trap because, again, it's easy to get half down from 5 people in a weekend. And then they have 5 projects that they have to manage. And so anyway, I hope this is like light bulbing for some people.
Mm-hmm. And then is there a rule of thumb for the labor to install based on square foot? Is that a question? Or yeah.
Get 3 bids if you want, like compare and contrast. But I love to see line item I love to see that line item stuff. Now one more story because I've given you two examples. I buy materials from Home Depot. I get the receipt. They pick them up and they install them. I pay them. They buy materials from their own vendors and I buy materials from them and I get a receipt from them direct. Now I did have one contractor and these are, so if you look at big business, so I grew up in, after I moved away from Morgan, Utah and the farm, I went down and worked with my dad in commercial roofing, like big business. Like we did like the old Delta Center. We did the skating, the oval, what do they call that? The Olympic oval skating rink for the 2002 Olympics, whatever. Like huge, like multi-football field size buildings. Like we would do roofs for $1 million. Huge commercial roofing. And this is how every single big business operates. This last example that I'm going to give you guys. So I had one contractor that I was, they were like, oh yeah, half down. And I was like, no, I don't do that. And then, and then what we agreed on was, okay, I won't pay you a dime. You will float your own materials, but you're going to give me a line item of, this one was landscaping. So it was like, leveling the ground, prepping for, we were doing some concrete as well. So prepping for concrete and then doing the sprinkler system and then the sod and all that. So there was line item for each of those things. And I did not give them a dime to start, not one penny, but they had said, okay, as soon as we get all of the grading done, here's the line item for that. You'll give us a paycheck, you'll give us a check. And I said, yeah, great. And then they said, okay, as soon as we get the sprinklers done, you'll give us a check. And it was just inclusive of both materials and the labor. And I said, yeah, that's fine. Just give me one number and I'll pay that as soon as it is done and I have inspected it. And then as soon as the sod is done, I will pay that. And so they basically paid for their own sod, installed it, and I wrote a check for labor and materials at the same time. That's how big business is. Like if you go to these big businesses, like I said, big, huge buildings, Delta Center. I mean, we did the LDS Temple in Salt Lake City. In fact, we technically did the LDS Temple in like Honduras and Nigeria, Africa, and Ghana, Africa. And I mean, we would go all over the world, big commercial roofing. And we as the contractor, as the roofer on $1 million projects, just the roof, that's it. And we would not see one penny until everything was done. So we floated our own materials and that was just normal. And so it's funny to look at these little projects like this that people, oh yeah, obviously they're a small town. They're chuck in a truck kind of contractors. And that's fine. Sometimes they're really good at what they do. They're very good at their craft, but they're just not running a big business. They can't float their own materials. And so, and I'm not saying that's wrong. I'm just saying that you have to act accordingly. And so yeah, that's my favorite way is the third way. They float their own materials, they do the labor, and then they say, okay, here's how many line items we have. So let's say they had 50 line items. I might write 50 checks. But let's say they finish halfway through and don't finish. I'm not out any money because I can just hire somebody else and say, hey, will you finish the rest of these line items? The other guy failed, but I didn't overspend, if that makes sense. I will not have to double spend for one single one of those line items because of how we pay. And that, again, that is the number one reason I see people lose money is they have to double pay for contract work because they pay a contractor before work is done. And so anyway, there's my soapbox.
And what about like having that contractor's work guaranteed like a couple years out? I think Bill was just commenting that and building from the ground up, having that extra peace of mind if something happens after, it closes. I don't know. They didn't tighten a screw and now all of a sudden, there's damage. So some sort of a contractor guarantee of their work. What are your thoughts on that?
I basically just don't pay until it's inspected, if I'm understanding your question correctly. Like it has to be inspected and then they get a paycheck in any three of these scenarios. Whether I'm buying materials from Home Depot or I buy materials from the contractor direct because they have their supplier, or in the last where I'm technically buying materials from them as well, but I'm not paying for materials until they are installed. All three of those scenarios, they do not receive a paycheck until the work is done and inspected, I should say, and live inspected, like not just photos, live inspected by myself or someone that I am paying to inspect. So like the example of the house 6 hours from me down in St. George, I used the realtor, because the realtor was going to be my listing agent. So he's financially motivated to do that for me. And so I said, yeah, will you run over to the house real fast? He said he's done with this XYZ. And will you tell me if it's good enough that you're like, yeah, looks good, pay the guy. And I did. And I trusted that realtor because he also borrows money from me as a fix and flipper himself. And so he runs projects. And so yeah, so inspected in person by someone at the end of the day. So the guarantee thing, I think maybe you're asking more of like a warranty, like, hey, if this fails a year from now, that's hard. That's hard to do.
That might scare them away.
It can. I
Yeah.
mean, in the roofing industry, we would offer warranties, and that's like customary. And so obviously there's that, but yeah, it's hard to say, like, hey, give me a warranty for this toilet or whatever, workmanship. Give me a warranty for your paint job. If again, well, I mean, it goes back to the thing. If everybody feels like they're getting taken care of, if you start having let's say you're having a conversation of, hey, will you warranty your paint job, your paint work, your painting handiwork? And they're like, yeah, no problem. And they say, and that's great. Then yeah, but if they're like, then maybe they won't. Because I'm sure every contractor's had that homeowner that's like, it's funny. I saw something on social media once where somebody had gone, and oftentimes in the paint world, you take that painter's tape and just rip like a corner off and put it somewhere to say, hey, here's some attention to look at. And somebody sent me one that like literally the whole house was polka dotted with painter's tape because this homeowner was insane. Right? So obviously contractors want to avoid that kind of stuff. But just do your inspection before you pay them and say, oh, can you finish these 5 things or whatever that I saw in my inspection before I pay you? Most of the time they'll be, oh yeah, that's fine. And you're off to the races. Or you say, cool, I'll give you this much money, but will you knock out this punch list item before I pay the rest? Great. Kind of a thing. But anyway, for what it's worth. All right. I know Tamara had a couple questions. I want to make sure I get to her as well. Is she still with us?
Thank you, Daine,
You
for all your
betcha.
insight. And also the point that Anthony made about lien release forms from the contractors that will be
Yes.
signed upon the final payment. Thank you.
Absolutely. Yes. Oh, it looks like Tamara is no longer with us, so never mind. I don't see her at least. Cool. Maybe we don't have her anymore. But anywho, more questions. We got just a few more minutes.
Yeah, it was actually I have experience with that, Daine. I'm glad you're doing it because when I just had a general contractor and he was working with the project and there was an item that he couldn't get. I was doing that at Home Depot. I, told him to go get it. And then what I was doing is like, call me when you have everything, and I run it through my pro account, and then I pay it while, he's over there at the Home Depot.
Mhm.
And but then there's like an item that he said they don't have a good quality there or whatever. It was something, it was for, a tankless um water heater.
Okay, yeah, tankless water heater. Yeah, that's very common for like
Yes.
stuff like that. They go get from like a plumber supply versus Home Depot.
Yes, yes. And he said he get that, and it's like, okay, so can I just, pay you? I'll give you my like I'll still pay that. And he was saying that they won't take it because I'm not licensed and all that.
Mhm.
So they have to give the receipt to them and they have to pay it and all that. So and and then what happened was, and he said, oh no, okay, if you're gonna get, and how much it is. And it was a lot more than what the Home Depot was. And so it turned out, and he said, well, he said he will give me the receipt. And I said, okay. And then I'll pay you. So he actually literally, I paid him, I remember $500, that I paid for it, and for one item. And so he said he installed it. And so then I went over there and it's like, okay, which one it is, that you installed? And it turned out that he didn't even have it there. And so it was almost like I don't know if it was, it came with it, but he said he needed an extra. But anyway, and then he eventually just brought it. He didn't have it because he said he already did. And it's like, what it exactly looks like and stuff. And installed. And but he kind of did, oh, you know what, I must have left it in my truck, and it's like, oh, I thought you already did that. But then he said, oh, I thought my guy already installed it, so anyway, he was trying to escape out from his lie. And then he gave me the receipt, from his company. And so I was asking, because our agreement is to get the receipt from the where he got the item from, but he wouldn't give it. And I told him it's okay if you mark it up, some, because you had to, drive over there, and I completely understand that. And
Mhm.
our agreement was that. But anyway, it boiled down to, I just, kind of, you know, give him some, we resolve it at the end, where he was doing some, other things that to account for, for that, like the difference. So we just kind of left at that. And but yeah, there are some people, because like a lot of the stuff that they do, I don't know what they're getting. There's a lot of little items for, for things that they get. So, and if you look at the receipt, from Home Depot, I can't even see what it is. It's like a part, but it doesn't tell you what it is. So
Mhm.
it's just like a number. I mean, some of them, it says what it is, but a lot of those
Yeah, it
I don't
should give
even,
you
I couldn't even tell.
a
Mhm.
SKU or a UPC, and you could just punch that into, Home Depot. I know you can. You can just punch that into Home Depot.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many of them. I mean, it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's not. But anyway, I told him, because that's exactly what he did. I was getting like, actually, I got 4 bids for this job, and he was kind of like, in the middle-ish, and then he said, oh yeah, I can do this, this period of time. So, and I did a lot of mistakes on that. Actually, I didn't, I gave 50%, because that was every single one of them. They wanted 50%. And
Mhm.
because of, like the parts, and or like the materials. And then it turned out they were going to start that day. They came to the house and no materials. I'm like, okay. And then the workers were like, Gilda, we can't work. We don't have materials. I'm like, what do you mean you don't have materials? I'm like, that's why I paid $50, 50%, because they said it's for materials. And
Exactly.
then no materials, and they couldn't start. So I ended up paying the materials so they can start, those people that he sent, so they can start. So I was like, okay, fine, I'll just get, and then I negotiated with them, I'll deduct it from the other half. That was the only thing I can get started. But it was like, it was like from that point on, I'm like, it just kind of, snowball from that. But I was,
Right.
we got into it. I was like, this is ridiculous. I'm like, I mean, you can't do this. And literally, I was talking with him, and I said, you cannot do this to people because you're gonna get in big trouble if you keep doing this.
Oh yeah.
And I said, this is and I even told her, this is jail time. You're gonna go to jail if you don't stop.
Yeah.
And it's sure enough,
Yeah.
before we finished, right at the very end, in fact, he still has to give me some, and if he didn't finish the job, I still had to pay him like 250, but he didn't finish the job. But luckily it was like towards the end that we found like some, little problem with the plumbing in the basement that ended up like one of his guys, came to finish, and I just paid him separate, for that, because he actually in jail, because that was he was doing. He was taking money from all these people and, reported him, and he
Yep.
he got in trouble. Yeah, he got locked up for. I heard he's out now, but so his workers, told me. I was like, he was supposed to be coming, and then he said, I'm like, where are you? I mean, I kept calling, and his son, and because his son works with him too, and nobody was picking up their phones. And luckily, I had one of his guys. I got a hold of him and said, well, I can't get a hold of him, and I'm waiting here, and he was supposed to come. And it was like, oh yeah, you didn't hear? And like, he's in jail. I was like, what? So I was like,
Oh
yeah.
my gosh.
I told him, I told him, because the way he was doing it, I'm like, he was just a nice guy. This guy was like,
They
he
typically
was,
are.
yeah. And I'm like, when I told him, I'm like, I know you're a nice guy, I like it, but I just don't like how you do your business. This is not right.
Mhm.
You're getting, all this money from people before you do the job. And one time I had a meeting. This is actually a marketing, because I was using this house as like a property tour. So I
Mhm.
had like a couple that came, and in that area, and they have like 5 houses that they're renting in the area. And I wanted to get him to Renatus, to buy the education, so I brought him there. So as we were talking in the kitchen, and he walked in, we had such a great conversation, and here comes this general contractor and walked in because the door was open, and I didn't even expect him, to come, but he did have a code, so he can go in there and check on the, work of his people and stuff. And then all of a sudden, the husband just left, literally left. And I'm like, what did I do? Did I say anything? And so the wife followed him, and then the son, also kind of followed him. They went out, all of them. And then the wife came back. I was waiting inside. And then she said, Gilda, I'm so sorry. We're gonna have to leave right now. I'll call you in a little bit. I'm like, oh, okay. And I was like, oh, okay. It's like, but the way she was saying it, so I just didn't even want to ask. And then she called me as they were like already in the car. And she told me that this guy apparently ripped him off. And he said, if he didn't leave, her husband, if he didn't leave, he was just probably going to punch him right there and then.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
And so that's why, they laughed, because apparently it was like a $900, job that he was supposed to do and he didn't do.
Mhm.
So, and I said, well,
And this
why
is
did,
and this is why I say, like, even this can happen. In fact, it is almost inevitable that even the most honest, like trustworthy contractors, if they run their business in that way, it is almost inevitable. It's not if, it's when.
Mhm.
Because when they become popular enough, it's easier to get half down from 10 people than it is to finish 10 projects.
Yeah, I think that's what he was doing. But here's what I did, Daine. I told him, I will not pay you a check. I will pay you my credit card. And then I even paid in the beginning. He would say, okay, I was fine to 50%. But then
Mhm.
he noticed, it's like, okay, his bank charging him like I think it was like 3% or something. So then he kind of negotiated with me, can you pay half and I'll pay half? I said, that's fine. So because I said, if you don't do it, I can call my bank. It's like, hey, you didn't do this one. I'm getting my money back. They can go after you.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't I like that, but I don't love that because
Hmm.
I mean, then it becomes who's a better salesman for the card company.
Yeah. Well, I didn't tell him that I'll come after you, but I
Yeah,
just,
but even if
for me.
if you tell your credit card, hey, charge back what I paid him, he can fight it. And like I say, then it just becomes who is a better salesman to the card company. And the card company becomes your judge and says, okay, Gilda, you prove that you need your money back. And they tell the contractor, okay, contractor, you prove that you deserve this money. They could lie through their teeth and whatever and say, no, like this is a legit charge. Gilda's lying basically. So that's why I say, like, I like that. I don't love that because
I don't either, but
they can fight it. And
yeah,
potentially,
exactly.
again, it's
Yeah.
just whoever becomes better at presenting evidence to whether the evidence is real or not, which is why I say, like, I don't love it, because whoever's evidence is more persuasive wins with the credit card company to say, yes, we're going to charge back, or no, we're not. We're going to keep it with the contractor. But anyway, we're past
Yeah.
9:30 though, so we got to wrap it up. But
Okay.
yeah,
All right.
awesome.
Well, thank you,
awesome.
Daine.
I hope
This
this
Yeah,
is
helps
wonderful.
a great call.
somebody.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you, Daine and Celeste. Super excited for you. We're rooting for you. Gilda, thanks for your
Yeah.
contributions. Everybody else.
Thank you. Thank you.
And remember to do your best, work hard, make a difference.
Have a conversation a day.
There you go. All right, folks. See you soon. Bye for now.